comments? You don't need to do all the talking. Paul saw this ministry to the Gentiles as a special grace. It was an honor and a privilege. And he was willing to suffer, to tell the world about Jesus. Yeah. I think a lot of times, man, we're afraid to open our mouth, ain't we? Because we're afraid somebody's going to say something. Well, he's one of them Christians.
Yeah. Jerry, we live in a time now, you know, what it was then, as we've talked several times, I don't have nothing against new inventions. You know, you say, people don't say it a lot. Why we say make cars like, they sure don't make cars like they used to. Ain't that good?
Yeah.
My goodness gracious. They say this modern day stuff, why? Used to be, if you had a car with 100,000 miles on it, you couldn't get rid of it, Gary.
No.
It was you, buddy. You was a hero if you had one that would make it that far, because as far as technology and all of that,
yeah.
it just wasn't made to last. They was building them the best they know. All this, they was building them the best they know how, but they could just make them go so far. Well, it's nothing today to find a car with 2,000 or 3,000. You find a car today, Gary, with 100,000 miles on it at a car lot, low mileage.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Low mileage. Still got plenty to go. And, you know, it's unheard of. And that's the same way, Gary, with today. We're teaching, and folks is being taught right in churches. It's a vocation to be a Christian. Yeah. No, sirree, it's a heavenly calling. It's a gift of God, yeah, Gary.
That's right.
It compares to none other.
Right.
And that's the way Paul said. Paul thought it was a gift, and he gloried in the calling that God had put upon him. Why? Because God had chosen. Well, if it had been men, Gary, they'd have went to the temple and they'd have picked somebody out there, you know, with a good background, with an educated speech and all like that. Mm-hmm. He was a blasphemer, Buck. He murdered the cause of Christ.
Right.
But God chose him and turned him around. Aren't you glad for the Lord?
What mercy.
You didn't mean for us to kick in that much, did you?
Well, yeah. I want you to get
somebody else.
Get loosened up. When this thing becomes real to you, it'll make a difference for you.
Yeah.
You get serious about serving the Lord.
Won't be awkward, will it?
No. I mean, that's just... You know how it is, if you get around these sports fans, you watch them guys, they won't take them on the pipe up when you start talking about their team.
Yeah.
You get around a bunch of Christians say to somebody, Lord, I think someone's going to crawl a hole somewhere up. Maybe they don't know what they're talking about. You start talking about him, they act like, well, I guess they didn't study very much, or they don't know much about him because you don't hear him jumping in there.
Exactly.
I'll get up there and I'll talk about the Cowboys. Here they'll come. They'll come out of the woodwork.
Yeah.
We need to be enthused about this thing. You need to know the Word of God.
Amen.
And you need to know who you are serving. So when people ask you concerning the faith, you'll have an answer for it. I think one thing he was talking about in this lesson was about the angels wanted to look into it. And I believe the writer of the quarter was talking about, the angels, we're on display, people, whether you realize it or not. We are on display to the world, to the spiritual beings that are watching about us. So the angels are watching me and you this morning. They're watching our daily life. They're watching our walk. You don't say, I don't believe that. Well, what did God ask Job? In the book of Job, what did God ask the devil? Where have you been?
Right.
He said, I've been walking to and fro. So you are on display this morning. You don't, the devil ain't gonna fool somebody that's not dedicated and not faithful.
Right.
He don't want to mess with them. He's already got half of them.
Yeah.
Why mess with them? Say, I ain't used to rolling them holes. One of them wouldn't go to church or woke them up anyway. So he's going to You know, if you get on the battlefield and get on the front line, that's where the heat is, man. When you get up close to the front, that's why most people don't want to do anything. That's where the heat is on the front line. Get out where God can use you. Be faithful in His service. God will make a blessing out of it. You never know when you're going to bless somebody. Whether it might just be your presence, being there. You may not have to say a word. It's your smiling face will make the difference to somebody.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen people, you know, you don't hear anything out of them, but just them showing up makes the day for you.
Yes, sir.
Just to know that they're faithful in the service of the Lord. That you are, the angels are watching you, the spiritual beings are watching you. You'll find out more about this in a couple of weeks. We start talking about the warfare that's going on. God said put on the breastplate, the helmet. You'll learn more about that. That's so we are in a warfare, and we are being watched and being challenged every day. So I challenge you this morning to move up a little bit closer. You're going to need it in these last days. If you got something that ain't real, you better be finding your altar somewhere or another getting tuned up. Because the days are coming that we're in, these last days, you better be sure you're plugged in right. If you don't, the devil's going to short you. He's going to short circuit you somewhere.
Bless you, brother.